Welcome back, everybody, to the Expert Trader Podcast series. We have a very special guest in the house today. Mr. Lisaldo Tavarez is back for another episode. We have a very special surprise for you guys. Normally, we talk about trading. Today, we're going to take a step outside of the trading world and talk about cash flow and talk about investing. Mr. Tavarez, thank you for coming on the Expert Trader Podcast once again.
Well, anytime, man. Anytime you need me, I'm here for you, man. I appreciate the wine you sent me.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. It was good wine. I appreciate it. Thank you for that.
No, that's our pleasure. I really hope that you enjoyed that wine. It's a California blend, really special wine that we like. But the conversation today is about you, and it's about how you've become so successful, not just in one field, but in being able to take the fruits of that labor and then spread that around to be able to keep feeding yourself. So I want to talk a little bit about your investing life, and I want to talk about some tips that you have for traders on how they can use their trading cash flow to be able to invest that and get some cash flow back. First off, Lisaldo, how are you?
I'm great. I can't complain. If I was to complain, I think God would be mad at me if I was to complain. So I can't complain. A little bit tired, but I'm fine, man. This is what I do. This is what I signed up for. So I can't complain. I'm fine.
You're on a flight almost every day. You're in a different city almost every day. Recently, I saw you speak at the Jaguar Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Miami Dolphins.
The Miami Dolphins Stadium. So talk to me about that experience and what were you out there for?
I was out there for an event for Bryce Thompson and Trade House. And it was a surreal feeling because, you watch artists performing in stadiums like that. You watch sports events in stadiums like that. So for you to be able to speak in a stadium like that was really a surreal feeling. I think it was like the top of the top for me. I've spoken in arenas, but I've never spoken in a stadium, and I think that was the top of the top for me. So, definitely it was like the highlight of this journey in my career, so far.
How did you feel up there? Did you feel comfortable, or did you feel a little bit of nervousness before you stepped on that stage? It's a big stage. There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, I always feel like when I speak in when I'm about to speak in a big venue, maybe a hotel, or I did the Dickies Arena in March, before I get on stage, I'll be a little bit nervous because truth be told, I never write anything down. I just talk from the top of my head. So it's like, I know what I'm going to talk about when I get on stage. When I get on stage and look at the crowd, I'll be like, okay, I'll just start going. So I get a little bit nervous because, again, I'm not like most people that have stuff written down that they know what they're going to say. They're going to look at their phones and speak to the crowd. I'm just speaking, So a lot of my famous quotes that people have, I don't remember them because, again, it just comes, it's like a rapper who raps and his raps are coming from the top of his brain. He's just rapping right there, So that's how when I speak, it's the same way. Like even yesterday when I spoke, I said so many things that people were in awe. And then I'm like, damn, I don't remember what I said until people started reminding me, yo, you said this, Joe, you said this, you said that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I never have nothing written down.
So were you always like that? Is this something that came to you naturally, or is this something that you grew into just after years of public speaking?
I think you ever heard the saying, the gift of gab?
Yeah.
So they used to say I have the gift of gab. So I feel like this has always been me. It's just that I transfer this to what I'm doing right now. But if I would have been a car salesman, I would have been a top car salesman. Just because I just know how to speak to the people. I just know how to get them to buy into what I'm doing. So I just think that how I always was, I took that and transferred it to what I do now. So it kind of just worked hand in hand.
Might be a little bit of that Brooklyn spirit.
Yeah.
So what's been new with you since the last time that we spoke? The last conversation we had centered around your trading, a little bit about your background. We introduced folks to who you are, your strategy, the teacup strategy. What's been new in your world since it's been about a year since we've spoken?
Well, what's been new with me, I've been, getting into a lot of investments. I actually hit another rank in the company, which was Chairman 100. And then I just been investing. I opened up a restaurant, got some more trucks for another real estate property. Actually now building my own house and, got some cannabis farms. So I've been doing a lot of, my portfolio, just getting some stuff into my portfolio, growing my portfolio, basically.
That's a perfect segue. Since you mentioned your investments and you mentioned a lot of the different projects that you're working on, they all seem to be in different fields. They're not all in the same area. So how do you think about the things that you get yourself into and your investments?
Well, two things. I have to like it, first of all. So it was funny because I always say I would never invest into a restaurant, right? because I always thought that was not a great investment. But I like food, and I like the food at the restaurant. You know, we had like a tryout of the food, like a testing. And I was like, man, that food is really, really good. I would invest into this restaurant because I like the food. Plus, you know, the person who owned the restaurant, I wanted to gain a relationship with that person because that person had over 100 restaurants. So, and he also, if you ever heard of Sugar Factory, the restaurant, he owns a sugar factory. I wanted to get into an investment with him just to open up that relationship with him. So that's why I went on. I got the restaurant. Other investments that I do is just more of a long-term solid return on your money. You know, and I invest in things that people, besides the restaurant, I invest in things that people need, not want.
Right.
So that's one thing when it comes to investing. You got to understand the difference between they want this, they need this.
So can you break that down? Why, if someone's listening at home and they're like, okay, that kind of makes sense, could you kind of break that apart a little bit and say, why would you want to start a business based on what people need versus just what people want?
Because when people want, it's just something that they don't need. You can want this new Mercedes Benz, but you need it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you want it, but you're not going to buy it because you don't need it.
But if you need something, they're going to get it and they're going to be back.
Yeah. So when I invested into trucks, it's something that is needed because things, products, everything needs to get transported from place to place. Like supermarkets, how they get their food, it comes in trucks. Their food that they fill up the supermarket, it comes in trucks. Cars, from one dealer to another, is in trucks. Best Buy, all these companies, when they get shipments, remember, a plane lands at the airport. A plane ain't landing in the parking lot of Walmart. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So how is Walmart getting the deliveries? It's not. It could come in a plane, but it's come to the plane to the airport.
Right.
In the airport, a truck is gonna always bring it.
Is that something that you figured out on your own, or is this something that you kind of heard about from other people that you were around and it piqued your interest?
Well, I had a friend that he had a trucking company, a childhood friend. And, you know, I was always interested in that because, you know, I know it makes money, but I understand that it was a need. You know, ground transportation is even if you think about it, like Amazon, all this stuff, it's all in trucks. It's all in trucks.
100%.
You know? So it was something that the world needs trucks. They need trucks. And how long I've been alive, and even before me, trucks has always been in business.
Okay.
The trucks never will go out of business because these big companies need deliveries.
100%. I want to touch back on one thing that you said. So you said that you ended up going into business with, and we're going to take a step back from the trucks. We'll come back to it in a little bit, but you said the sugar factory owner, you went into business with him. Now, how did you get in business with him in the first place? You said that you wanted to do business with him, but how did you even get in contact with him?
I have a friend that he was the manager for the sugar factory here in Atlanta.
Okay.
And, you know, he knew that I'm always into investing, and the opportunity came and he called me and said, listen, my boss, he's looking for a partner at this restaurant that he's trying to do in Connecticut. Would you guys like to meet? So, you know, that's how that came about. My friend actually put the play together for me and the owner to get together and do the business. So, you know, sometimes, again, it's all networking. Your network is everything, you know, who you know and who they know is important. Because at the end of the day, think about it, you know, and also this is why I always say you have to be good with people, because if you're good with people, people will keep you in mind. Because if I wasn't good with my friend, he would have maybe pitched that to somebody else that he knew that could afford to invest. You see, but because I have a good relationship with people, you know, they think of me first, like, hey, you know what, I got something for you. So more than anything is just always keep good relations with people. It doesn't matter if they have no money or they have a lot of money. You know, the person with no money can lead you to a person with a lot of money just because their relationship with a person.
Okay, I want to get deeper into the investing 101, but I'm going to ask you this question since we're on this topic. If you were to invest in somebody, if you were to look for somebody and look at some qualities in somebody else that you'd want to invest in, what would those qualities be?
The person's passion for what they want me to invest in. That's number one. Because when you do things just for money, they never work out. But when you do things because you have a passion, and you can show me that you have a passion for it, I know it's going to work out because I know you passionately love this investment. Like you really into this. Because anybody can come to you and say, oh, I got an investment, and all they think about is the bottom line, which is the money.
Right.
They're not really passionate about it.
Okay. And why is passion important as opposed to just thinking about the bottom line? What does that
Because
do for the business?
because when you're passionate about something, it's never work. It's never a job.
So you can make it through like tough times,
Yeah,
basically?
yeah. Because when you love it, you'll be able to go get around the obstacles, the adversity. When you love it, when you really believe in it, because you're passionate about it. I feel like because in anything, obstacles are going to come, adversity is going to come. So if you don't love something, you'll tend to fold and quit because it's like I already never. All right, I didn't really love it anyway, so it's okay, whatever. I'll move on to the next. But when you're really passionate about something, you're gonna really try your best to make it work. I invest in people that have passion and that I feel like have potential, and just need a head start. Because there's a lot of people that you can invest in, but a lot of people really don't have potential.
Okay.
I got to see potential in you. I got to see a little bit of you, a little bit of me and you. For me
Okay, that's a big one. So would you say passion, and then what would you put as number 2 and 3 then? Passion being the number 1. Would 2 be a skill set?
Your knowledge of what you pitching me. You have to be knowledgeable of what you're telling me that you want me to invest with you in.
Okay. Does the person have to be a complete expert in that thing? Or does someone just need to be the most well-versed in the room?
Well-versed.
Okay. Beautiful. And then if there was one last thing that you would put, it's passion and then knowledge. What would be that last character that you would look for in someone that you were looking to invest in?
Like I said, I have to see me in them.
Okay. Potential? Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, potential. But really me and them, because I feel like, the way my mentality is, the way I go about things, I'm not gonna lose attitude. I live my life, I'm not gonna lose.
Okay.
I need to see that in them, because then, I'm putting my money, really you're putting your money in the trust of them. So I gotta see them, me and them. I have to see that, okay, they like me. They no matter what, they're gonna keep going. They're not gonna quit, they're not gonna fold. So I have to see that for me to invest. Because sometimes I don't have to see that you're the most talented, you're an expert, because a lot of experts never make money. Prime example in Forex. I know a lot of experts in Forex that know everything about Forex, but don't make any money.
Right.
Because maybe they know too much. And that hinders them from making money because they know too much of what's going on. And they scared to make a move because they know too much. So I don't need you to know too much. I need you to have some knowledge, but I need you to have that attitude where, I'm going to make this happen regardless.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Look, there's a lot of young people watching this, and maybe some, whatever age they are, they're making Forex profits and they have some money on top, based on what they're saving, investing already on top. What should they be thinking about in terms of this extra cash flow, and how should they be thinking about deploying it? Should they just take their first check and just start splitting it everywhere? How would you walk somebody through that step by step?
You would like to have a strategy when you invest, right? So you have to look for needs, not wants. Because a lot of people invest in wants and understand that people, again, it's like I always said about a restaurant. People want to go to the restaurant, but if they do a budget, if they're living off a budget because they made a budget for the next 6 months to a year because they have to save money, they have a family, they're gonna cut. What's the first things they're gonna cut off? Eating out.
Right.
Like I said, I only invested in the restaurant because of the relation, but normally I wouldn't have invested that because that's a want, not a need. Look for the needs in life. Go around, Google what people need that they cannot survive without. Food, right? Shelter, so real estate. See, things of that nature that people have to have in order for them to survive, not that they want to have, because it's something extra. Like if you can go out to eat every weekend, that's because you have extra money. But if you can't go out to eat every weekend, which is cheaper, you're gonna go food shopping and cook.
Right.
Because when you go out to eat, that same meal that you paid when you went out to eat, if you would have cooked it at home, it would have been a lot cheaper. So, but you have the necessities, you have the money to go out there and go to dinners like that, but not everybody does. So when you invest, take it. Don't take your check and invest, because I did that wrongly too about 8 years ago.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's go straight into that, where people are making money in trading and they are taking some extra side money out. Should they take that $1,000 check and then spread that 5 ways? Should they put it all into one thing? Should they concentrate?
No, they need to focus on one thing, and they need to focus on something that they want to invest in. Like I always tell people, if you're gonna invest every week $1,000 in something, you might as well buy some crypto, because there's a bank account for you. At the end of the day, it's a bank account that it might lose interest, but it might gain a lot of interest. because people get fascinated by, no, I want to put this money in the bank because they want to look at it every single day. I want to look at my bank account and know that I have savings. But if you're going to save $1,000 a week, you might as well put it into crypto. Crypto is becoming the fastest form for people to really make some money in investments, because for you to invest in something, you need some capital. You need some real capital. But if you only can take out $1,000 a week to save, you might as well put it in crypto. And if one of these coins that you put it in, a legit coin, you get it for a low price and it skyrocketed. Now that $1,000 comes 10, 15, 20.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you want to find something that's very valuable and put your money to work, essentially, not just like let it sit around on the sidelines, right?
No, you don't. You should always have something for a rainy day. That's always obvious. Mm-hmm. But your life, the money that you have should be always revolving in investments. Okay. And not all investments are going to be profitable. Some investments you might have to just hope that you break even. Some you might take a loss. That's happened to me. It's just part of investing. But the ultimate goal is to have your money working for you, not you working for your money.
For sure.
That's the ultimate goal. But you can't just throw yourself into anything because you have the capital to invest. That's how you lose money.
Big key.
That's how I lost in 2013. I lost over 150,000 in investment because I had the capital. So, a person came to me with an idea. I said, okay, cool. This person came to me with another idea. I said, cool. Without me really doing my research, without me really understanding what I'm investing in.
Right. I want to touch back on that story, the 150K loss, kind of the things that you learned from that. We don't have to go to the specifics of it, but just kind of the lessons that you took away. But real quick, this is kind of a sidebar question. We hear a lot about this from social media and things like that. They tell younger people, invest in yourself. Like if you have a little bit of money and it's not enough to really go far in investments, take that money and invest in yourself. And then that will be a better way to go about that. Do you agree? Or do you think people should be investing in?
I think the best investment you can do, right, is invest in yourself, which means seeking knowledge about things that you do want to invest in. So if let's say you want to invest in real estate, you maybe might want to go to a gathering or a function or an event where they're talking about real estate. I know, for example, DJ Envy from New York City, he does flipping houses. So he goes across America and he rents out hotels and he does events. So if you into something like that, go to one of those events. That's investing in yourself. If you want to know about trucking, there's people that sell trucking courses. That's when people say investing, that's investing in stuff. Like I just bought, 6 months ago, I bought a course on mobile homes, mobile homes.
Right. So you can figure out how the cash flow works. So you can figure out what areas to go into and just not have to do that trial and error for yourself.
Yeah. So I invested because I want to learn about mobile homes. So this couple that they've been successful buying mobile homes and selling them and renting them out. So I bought their course so I could learn. That's investing in yourself at the end of the day.
Now, if someone's listening to this and they're a little bit scared to take that first step, they're like, you know what? I don't want to put $1,000 on this person's course or whatever to learn this real estate thing. What if it doesn't work out? What would you tell that kind of person that is scared to take that step towards investing and towards investing in themselves? It's easy to tell someone to buy a coin that might go up. It's harder to convince someone to put their money on a course that they're going to have to, use that strategy to make some money. What would you tell that person sitting at home?
Well, then you're not ready to be a true entrepreneur. You're not ready. If you're scared, if you're already scared or because the biggest investment you can make is education and anything. Like, even if you want to start doing I'm going to be doing a podcast soon, but I'm educating myself. I'm looking at other people's podcasts. I'm listening to how they ask questions. Like I'm becoming a student. You have to open. Education is important when it comes to investing. So if you don't want to invest in the education, then you don't really want to be an entrepreneur. You don't really want to be an investor because at the end of the day, knowledge is what's going to make you money.
How important is coachability for success in investing and in everything else?
Coachability is that you have to be coachable in every walks of life because you got to see it like this. If a person that has the success, like if you're looking to invest into something and you know of a person that's having success in that, and he or she is doing a course, he or she is doing an event, or you have access to speak to that person, You have to seek knowledge, and you have to take the information that the person gives you and not try to be like, well, you know what? I'm gonna do it my way. No, do it the way that's been working. Do it the way that you've seen success at its highest level. A lot of people like to take something that somebody tells them and put their own spin on it so they can say, oh, I did it myself. I'm big on if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I just run the play. It's funny, when my friend, he uses his wording, run the play. But I run the play. Like if somebody I know, like even the guy with the restaurant, he's teaching me stuff about the restaurants. I'm not gonna be like, well, let's do it this way. I don't know about the way. I'm learning from you. So obviously you have over 100 restaurants. Why am I gonna put my 2 cents in something that I'm not an expert in or never made any money in? I'm just gonna seek the knowledge. I'm gonna be a sponge. So you have to be coachable. You know, a lot of people don't like taking orders. This is the problem. People want to be such their own boss that they feel like if somebody that has the success they want in the field they want or want to invest in tells them something, they feel like, oh, I'm taking orders, so I'm going to want to listen, because they want to be their own boss so bad. But everybody has to learn from somebody. Think about it. Everybody has to learn from somebody.
Does that ever go away? So I know there's always different levels. You know, you're a millionaire, you can go to hang around people who make 9 figures, and you can hang out with people who make, 10 figures or whatever it is. Is there always an element of coachability, or do you ever get to a point where you can run the show?
I can never run the show. I'm always learning, because like I said, I have friends that make 8 figures a year. I have friends that make 9, 10. So I'm always learning. Like I observe and I learn. I ask questions. The biggest thing you want to do is ask questions. You don't want to walk away from a room like, damn, I didn't understand. Ask questions.
What are some tips that you can give about asking good questions? Because you don't want to get in a room with someone and then, oh, what's your favorite color? Ask them stupid shit.
No. So when I ask questions is, as I'm listening to somebody speak about what they do and their success that they've been having, then I'll formulate a question in my head as they're speaking and I'm listening to what they're saying. I start formulating a question.
Okay.
So I just don't, by the way, ask a question. I wait for them to speak, see what they're talking about. And then as they speak, and I'm starting to formulate my question that I want to ask them.
So let's get back into investing 101. And these are all really good tips before. So we talked to sticking to needs versus wants. Huge. I can't explain how important that is. Being coachable around the right people. So finding qualified individuals with a blueprint, being coachable enough to apply that blueprint, and then asking great questions so that you can make the most of your time with those individuals. These are priceless knowledge. So let's shift over to investing 101. Let's go to somebody who's just making their first Forex check. Let's say that they got an FTMO funded account, right? They got their first $2,500 withdrawal. Do they invest that entire $2,500? And obviously, guys, this is not investment advice. Please consult a professional, a financial professional. But if we could just talk about some things that have worked for you.
Well, what has worked for me is, number one, like I said again, investing in myself. Never be scared to learn from others, buy from others. Again, if let's say they got a check for $2,500, you have to be, smart. You have, $2,500 can only get you so far, But if you want to invest in something, look at something. That's why I said at the beginning, crypto is where a lot of people are putting their money in because they can get in for cheap. Let's be honest, $2,500. What can you really invest into something that's going to bring you back money unless you put it into the market, right? Unless you trade it, or you're buying crypto, or you're buying a course, or you're going to an event to learn about what you want to invest in. That's all the 3 things you can really do, honestly.
That's a pretty great list, honestly, because everyone's got to start somewhere, right?
Got to start somewhere.
So if you guys are in that situation, don't try to get ahead of yourself and start looking. Guy makes his first 2,500, starts looking for real estate properties, starts calling agents. You want to look at what's inside of your ballpark, right?
Yes. You got to you got to be honest with yourself. 2,500 can only take you so far. But if now you save a couple of those $2,500 checks, maybe 3 or 4, now you can look into stuff. You can really start. Maybe you can get a property. There's so many places you can get a property for under $10,000. And so many cities that people don't even know, like Baltimore, Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit. But so you got to start doing, you have to start doing your research. And this is why I'm saying you have to have a passion, because it's going to take time, but you have to dedicate time to doing the research. I at 2,500, but if I get a couple of these 2,500, I know in Philadelphia, I can go to a sheriff auction and buy houses for $5,000 to $10,000. and I'll get my first real estate. You see what I'm saying?
100%.
So you just got to do your research.
Is a lot of this just your own curiosity? Like, okay, I wonder how this real estate things work, or this real estate thing works, and you're on YouTube looking this stuff up? Or are you just like surrounding yourself with people and conversations and you're like, I don't know what a multifamily unit is, but I'm gonna go figure it out? How does that work for you?
One thing about me that I always do in business is I go to the person that knows what they're doing in that field. I find the person that I could go to that knows about that field. And then I go over there and I'm like an annoying kid asking questions and trying to get everything out of them. Because I realize in life, I don't have to be good at anything. I have to surround myself with people that are good at everything. I don't have to be good at anything, but I have to surround I got to surround myself with people that are good at everything. So now think about it. I'm not a real estate guru, but I own 9 properties. But I got real estate gurus, right? I'm not a trucking guru, but I know people that have trucking companies. You see what I'm saying? So so the fields that I want to invest in, I'm going to the people that I have success. And so now with their knowledge and my little knowledge, you combine that and the capital. Now I'm able to, because people be like, oh, people think I'm a trucking expert. No. I'm an expert at investing. There's a big difference. And I was asked this yesterday at my event in Phoenix. Now I'm starting my own trucking company because I've been learning. I've been, just being a sponge, and as I go, learning more about the business. But I started as an investor of buying. Let's say you have a company, right? I say, hey, listen, I know you have a trucking company. Would you want any extra trucks that I can buy and we can work something out? And you say, hey, yeah, Lou, you know what? I might need a truck or two. I buy the trucks. Okay, now let's work out what I'm gonna make every week off these trucks. You're gonna run the trucks, right? I bought them. You still make a profit, but I need to make a profit too. So if people think that I'm a trucking expert. No. What I do is I link with people that have trucking companies, and I don't keep my mouth closed. I ask them a question. It's either yes or no, right or wrong. 100%. If I ask you, hey, listen, do you need extra trucks? You said, no, I'm good right now, but maybe in the future I might need to. Okay, cool. That door is already open. You see what I'm saying? That door, that line is open now. So now the next time you think of, damn, I need a couple of extra trucks, business is going good. Yeah, I remember the kid, I got his number. Let me call him.
For sure.
See what I'm saying?
So when you're saying that you're finding experts, how much do you actually need to know about that thing that you're investing in before you feel comfortable? You said you don't need to be an expert, but how much do you really need to know? Can you be clueless and just give them your money? Where does that line stop?
What I do is I'll start doing my little research on how the business really works as far as profits, gains, losses, especially with trucks, maintenance, and I look at that. But this is the way I see it. I see everything at a bottom line. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna buy a truck for $30,000, this is the way I see it. How long is it gonna take me to get my money back? So I'll be like, okay, so I buy a truck for $30,000. I'm like, you know what? I want to at least get my money back in 7 months. So I'll divide the 30,000 into 7 months worth of weeks, right? Which will be, let's say, 28 weeks. I'll divide that, and then that's the number that I'll be like, okay, I want to at least make minimum this, because I know in 7 months I'm gonna get back my investment.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I'll do my research. I'll see how much are loads. Like, you can easily go to Google trucking loads. What's the average per truckload? And you'll see it's 2,500, 3,000. So I'm like, okay, so if my truck picks up a load going and coming back, okay, this makes sense. So that's how I really look at things when I invest, especially in the trucking.
What have you learned about how you use your time when you're looking for investments? There's obviously been some things that have taken a lot of your time and maybe haven't paid off that well. And there's some things that probably don't take too much time from you, but pay off a little bit more. How do you think about time in this equation when you're looking at investments?
That's a great question, because I'm a person that I really like to be hands-off. I want real passive income.
Right.
So when I'm looking at investments, I'm looking at stuff that I don't have to be there. I don't have to be so that's what I'm saying. I invest into experts.
Okay.
The people who, if you're listening to this, write this down. Invest into experts. So the people who are already doing it, that have been having success, I'm investing into them. They don't even know I'm investing into them. They just think that I'm investing with them, but I'm really investing into them because that's what they're good at. See what I'm saying? They think that I'm just investing with them. Yeah, I'm buying a truck So we're forming a partnership, but I'm really investing into you because you're the one who really knows about this stuff.
I don't even know if this is like a fair question to ask, but how does someone become investable? Because I asked you the other side of this, which is what you look for in someone when you're looking to invest in them. But if someone was to invest in you, for example, if someone was to invest in me or someone at home, what would you want to see, or how could you be more attractive to an outside investor?
Well, your track record, your history. But see, this is the thing. When you asked me that question before, right? I said if a person comes up to me and wants me to invest, that haven't had success. This is what I look for. There's a difference when you invest into somebody that already has success.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so if you come to me and you're like, listen, I want to do this podcast. I've never done it before. I'm going to look for those three traits: potential, passion, and knowledge. Because you don't have nothing. You don't have no credit to show me that you've been successful in podcasts. You just want to do it, but you're passionate about it. But now, if you already been having a podcast, you're like, listen, I want to take my podcast to the next level. I'm looking at you like, okay, he's been doing it for a while. I'm going to invest into his expertise. It's a big difference. You already got it established. I'm just adding to it. So when I invest into these companies or people that already have, like, for example, the trucks or the restaurant, they already have success.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have to show me much because their groundwork, right? Their portfolio says it all. I mean, if I invest into a guy who has 50 trucks in his company, he has pretty much good success. Yep. If I'm investing into a person that has a restaurant that has one of the biggest names restaurants in the world, which is Sugar Factory, I know he knows what he's doing.
For sure.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway I'm getting is just put your head down and get these results. Once you have the results, you become attractive automatically because you've shown that you can do it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's make this a little bit fun. Talk to us about some stories. Tell me about your favorite investing story, and then tell me about your worst investing story.
Oh man, that's my favorite investing was the cannabis.
Okay.
Even though I don't smoke, I don't smoke, but I know that's a need. Believe it or not, you would think that's a want, but that's a need. People can't function without it. Think about it. People can't function without smoking. A lot of people have to start the day with a smoke.
Sure.
So that has been my funnest because, just from where I grew up, and I know people who made massive amount of money in that, So I always wanted to get into that. But because I wasn't a smoker, I can't tell you what's good or bad. But again, I got experts around me that have been smoking, that have been doing this all their lives, been growing cannabis, weed, whatever you want to call it. So what I did was, again, hey, listen, I have a great idea. You've been growing. You don't have something that's your own, but you've been profitable. You've been making money. Let's get something together that's going to be ours. I have the capital. Let me invest. You're the expert at this. You've been doing this for such years. Let me just now take you to the next level with the capital that I got. See what I'm saying? That's been the funnest. Now, the worst has been this company that I'm dealing with right now with 2 trucks that I got, and I only got 2 trucks with them. It's just like, it's been a little nightmare with them. But that's what also made me realize that, let me start my own stuff too. Because I have right now a total of 17 trucks, right? 15 of my trucks are in good standings. They're paid every week, no problem, right? I'm gonna keep those trucks with those companies forever, as long as they want me. But these 2 trucks that I got with this company in Dallas made me realize that, you know what, I need to take more of a hands-on approach with certain things, right? So I'm gonna start my own trucking company. That's been such a nightmare that it made me be like, you know what? As much as I love the passive income, I'm gonna start my own trucking company because I also have a lot of people that want to invest into trucks.
This is something that has always impressed me when I see it in other entrepreneurs. It's this sort of like, you had such a bad experience. You're like, I'm gonna do this myself because I could do this better. Is that something that comes from those frustrations?
I don't even think I could do it better. I think I just do better business. If that makes sense.
That's a form of doing it better. I'm not saying that you're better technically with the trucks and the weighing and all that, but just the way that you're going about it might be better.
My transparency is better. So, like, for example, if you invest into something with me, I'm always going to be the most transparent ever I can be with you. Whether it's good or bad, I'm going to be transparent.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And one thing I learned about these people in Dallas that I have a couple of trucks with, they have never been very transparent. They say one thing, they say another thing. It's been a lot of wishy-washy. And I realized, man, I don't do business like that. I don't do business like that. So I feel like the reason why I want to start my own is because, again, I got a lot of investors. Because I got a lot of kids that make a lot of money, so they want to invest. and they know I do trucks. So that's one of the reasons. But another thing is because I know I'm a good businessman. I do good by people. I do right by people. So, it's been times that I've taken a flight down there because I've been so frustrated with that company. Yeah. And I don't want people to feel like that. That feeling, I don't like that feeling. That's bad business. It's like, you start getting aggressive nature towards people. And I don't want that. So I'd rather just open something up, because I think about it this: if I would have got people to invest in those trucks over there in Dallas, it would have been tough.
For sure.
Because then I got to deal with their raps. So I'd rather just let me do my own thing, and then everybody can invest with me, and I know how to do business with people.
It sounds like integrity and transparency are also pretty high on your list.
Has to be.
Things to work
with.
Okay.
That's listen, there's two types of credit. There's the credit with the credit bureaus, and there's the credit with your network and with people. You got to always maintain a good credit with people. Even if you take one thing I'll tell you about business, even if you have to take a loss for the other person that invested with you, don't lose. Even if that person just breaks even, trust me, that person will always invest with you.
That might have been one of my favorite pieces of advice from this podcast so far. So I appreciate you dropping that in. Now, you got me interested about these businesses that you're involved in. Cannabis is something that's being talked about a lot. I'm in Virginia right now, so we just legalized about a week ago. And so this thing is starting to take state by state by state by storm. How do you see this whole thing playing out? How do you see the future of this cannabis game?
Well, it's like, for example, if people don't know their history with liquor. Liquor was illegal. It was bootlegged in the 1920s and 30s until they finally became legal, where you could sell it in stores, right? So the people who was making the liquor, the people who had the brands, when they became legal, these companies went to them for their liquor.
Right.
So think about it like this. This is how the way I see it. So if I keep buying farms, right? Think about this. If I keep buying farms, and eventually every state becomes legal, these big companies that can produce more weed than, let's per se, me and people that are growing with me. Like, think about it. Like a company that's worth billions of dollars can manufacture more than your regular mom and pop.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, right? But this is what they're going to do. They're going to be looking for land to produce. And that's where I come in. I have the land.
Wants and needs.
Right? You need the land. So what you going to do? You're going to buy me out. You're going to buy me out and give me a percentage for the rest of my life. Because you can produce way more than I can if you need the land. And I got the land. So now as states keep getting legal and I keep buying more lands, when the time comes that these big, like a Pfizer or Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola is trying to get into the cannabis industry. People don't even know that. They're waiting for it to get legal in like at least half the states of the United States so they can start getting into it. Mm-hmm. Right? Because everybody knows there's money in that. Everybody knows that, right? Because doctors, smoke, lawyers, everybody.
Yeah.
So when they want to come into the market, listen, it's not going to be a lot of land left for that. So just like the bootleggers that had all the liquor, that made the liquor, when the liquor got legal, these companies want to sell it. Who they're going to go to?
So you're not necessarily going into this because of the cannabis. You're not sitting there like, no, I want to own the cannabis farm. You just know that this is going to be bigger than everybody else thinks it is, and you're positioning yourself.
So I know.
Genius. Okay, brilliant. So what's next for you, Lisaldo? Talk to me about some things that you're interested in and what what some projects that you're willing to share with us are.
One thing about me that I don't overextend myself. I always tell people, stay in your lane. So I'm very good at staying in my lane. Right now I do the trucks to go to stay. I got a restaurant. I might get another restaurant or two. Definitely gonna have more farms, but I stay in my lane. You can stay in the lane and make millions of dollars.
When you say that you're invested in all these things, like a restaurant and a weed farm are very different things, but then you're saying you're staying in your lane. What is that lane?
So where I'm comfortable at.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Where I know that if I'm going to invest, whether I lose or not, I know I made a good investment. It just sometimes might not work out, but I know I made a good investment.
Okay, awesome.
It's something that I have some knowledge about.
Now, I want to do a quick fire round to wrap up this podcast. Lisaldo, I really appreciate you doing this. I know that you're back-to-back flights and it's an early morning for you. So I really do want to say thank you for getting on today. I want to do a spitfire round for 3 different kinds of people. One, the guy that has no money and he's about to start getting some money and wants to start looking at some things to invest. The second guy, he has some money. He wants to look for what things to invest. And the third guy has messed up some investments and he's scared. And I'll reread these to you, but let's start with the first guy. Doesn't have money yet, knows he's going to come into some money. How should they start positioning themselves?
Well, if they know they got some money coming into, they have to find out what they want, what they like to what would they like to invest into first and foremost? Because a lot of people don't even know what they like. That's the thing. Like you could have some money coming in, but if you don't know what you like and what you want to be a part of, you're not gonna know what to invest. So you got to look at what would you want to do if everything was perfect. Would you want to be into real estate? Would you want to be into this? You got to find something. You know, some people buy sneakers and resell it. Whatever it is, you have to find what you know you're gonna have fun with and you're gonna want to learn about. And that's the thing. Like even if you invest and it's for passive income, you still gotta want to learn about it though.
That's something I'm going to ask you is that necessarily a prerequisite for the investment? Like, do you have to like it to be able to invest in it, or is that not necessary?
No, you have to like it, because if all fails and you have to get into the trenches and you got to like it.
Okay. That's
like
really,
if I had to go and work in the restaurant, then I like the food, I like the atmosphere, I like talking to people, so I can do it if I have to do it. If they need a manager one day because they're trying to cut back and I need to go over there and manage, then I go manage. I like it. It's cool,
Okay. So some planning is going to be important. Now to the next individual, somebody who already has some money, but they're just on the sidelines. They're kind of scared to take the first step. What would you tell them?
That has the money, but are scared to take the first step. Well, with no risk, there's no reward. And knowing like you risk more by not investing than investing.
Break that down. What does that mean?
I know people that will have $20,000 in their bank account, and then they're going to last a lifetime with that $20,000 because they have it in the bank. And little do they know, something happens, you take a little bit. Something else happens, you take a little bit more. And by the time you know, you're left with nothing. You start, I'm gonna take some and I'm gonna put it back, and you never put it back.
Right.
So you risk more by not investing. Because when you got money, don't you notice when you got money sitting around, something always happens. And you got to dig. Right? You're like, why? Damn, I just see this money down. Something happened, I gotta go take. I'm gonna put it back, but you never put it back. So you risk more by not investing than by investing.
Right.
Okay. And if you're trying to if you're trying to get to a certain level of life, you can't get to that level without taking a chance, without trying to invest. You're never gonna get to the level that you're try to get to in life if you don't take a chance to invest. You cannot be scared.
You heard it, people. You gotta risk it to get the biscuit. Last person is gonna be let's say somebody's been burned in investments before. And so they're not just scared because they haven't done it before. They're scared because they have done it before and it hasn't gone well. What advice would you give to that person to get back on it and to really see the other side of this game? That's
happened to me where I've invested and I got burned, but that's just the game of life. Like you can't stop playing the game. You can't stop knocking on doors, right? Because all the doors that you knocked on were closed. Eventually, when you're gonna knock on the right one and the right one opens, and you just got to keep investing. Like it is what it is. People take losses. You got to say the most wealthiest people in this world have taken losses throughout their journey of being the most wealthiest person or being in the position that they are. Everybody takes losses, different. So it's like if you're in a relationship, you had a couple of relationships, then you go, well, you're gonna stop being in relationships. Like it's a chance. It's right. A chance. Anything you do in life is a chance. When you date somebody, it's a chance because it's a chance that it might not work out. It's always a chance in everything you do. So you're just gonna stop taking chances. You can't live your life like that. It happens. Maybe your first investment didn't go good, but maybe investments 3, 4, and 5, jackpot. But how would you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, what you're hearing is absolute honesty. This is not a polished interview by some guru, this, that, and the third. When Lisaldo's speaking, it's really from experience, and there's really a lot to this that you guys can dig into and pull something out of. Lisaldo, I want to thank you again for your time in your morning. I know it was an early morning for you and you got a bunch of things to do. So thank you again for hopping on the ExpertTrader Podcast.
Appreciate it, my guy. Anytime you need me, I'm here. Appreciate you, man.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem, bro.